Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Gift the Gab. As you know here at Relinquish, we're all about showing people, showing how dope they are. So today, man, I got me a dope guest, somebody I've known for a while. Got our girl Courtney Denise on the show. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good. First of all, like I tell everybody, man, thank you for coming on. You know what I'm saying? I know just looking at your page, girl, you're blown up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're blown up since I've known you. So, thank you for, sitting down, taking the time with me. But overall, I just want to know, what I'm saying? I knew Courtney from school, and then seeing how she is now, definitely, she's very much the same person, I think. Of course, I think you've grown and matured, as we all have. But overall, I want to ask people, let the people know, what got you started? Like, what made you want to kind of put your life in video?
First, I feel like the biggest thing was I started doing pageantry. And so I started getting used to being on stage in front of people, interacting with people, and being comfortable with it. And so I wasn't shy anymore. I didn't feel like I needed to be closed off.
Yeah, I remember that. You just do those.
Yeah. So I was just like, I'm okay being in front of people. That's fine. And then I started to develop a story that I wanted to share with people on the back end. So that kind of broke me out of my shell. But then at the same time, I was going through things and life struggles. And I felt like, I'm sure other people can relate to this stuff. And so because I didn't have that I need to keep everything bottled in and be scared and afraid to share with others, I just started putting myself out there and putting my story out there. And I felt like it could help other people. And the more engulfed I became in church and church life, I was like, you're supposed to serve others. You're supposed to minister to others. And so it kind of all played a part together, and that's the long story.
No, that's cool. No, honestly, the cool thing about you is, and just me personally looking at it, is you found something that other people could use. You found an avenue that other people could kind of tie in with, and you ran with it, right? Like, I'm a firm believer that God doesn't just give us our gifts for ourselves, right? Our gifts aren't just supposed to be used for our own gain, our own prosperity. Supposed to be helping other people out, reaching that hand back. So no, I appreciate that. So let me ask you this, because I know you first started off with the nursing, and then you kind of it's crazy because it's almost like your brain evolved as you went, right? So with the travel nursing, what made you want to put that out there?
There were a few people, older sorority sisters, that had done the travel nurse route. And I felt like I was getting on their nerves. I was asking so many questions. I was just calling and texting them about everything, every little thing. How do I do this? How do I prepare for this? There were so many different things, to the point where I still felt a little unprepared when I started. And that just made me okay, well, I want to help other people avoid that issue. And what if these people have no idea, they don't know anybody that they can ask questions? And so, it's a great avenue. It's so much financial freedom, and I believe, if you can do it as a nurse. And so I didn't want people to be held back because they just didn't know anything about it and were intimidated.
So let me ask you this. If Courtney now could go back and talk to Courtney who first started travel nursing, what would be a piece of advice you would give her?
When I first started, I was more so I wanted to go to different destinations opposed to I want to make the most money that I can. Because either way, I increased the amount of money that I was making, but there were places where I was I'm not going there. I'm not doing that. I don't care how much they're paying. It sounds just some place I've never heard of before. I'm not doing it. But those sacrificial experiences, I feel would have helped me in the long run, because I probably would have saved more. But I don't know, I've saved quite a bit, so...
Because I know travel nursing is because what I do in my work, I kind of interact with the nurses on that level, or interact with doctors on that level before. So I know it's nice living. It's nice living. I ain't gonna lie. I still sometimes we talk to nurses, and you negotiate the rates and stuff. I'm sitting there I should have stayed in school. I picked the wrong profession. I'm like, you get paid how much an hour? No, but I feel you. So one thing I do respect about you all is, there's monetary gain, but you're literally going to. Basically, I said you're basically Captain Saving Nurse. You come in and save sometimes, because sometimes people are leaving, sometimes people don't leave, and you really have to go in to fill those shifts. So how rewarding is that? Going into a hospital and knowing you're bringing that kind of impact.
Gosh. Oh my goodness, it's tremendous. I love that you asked that, because there's horror stories out there, where people mistreat travel nurses, they don't like you, the staff or whatever, because they know that you're doing the exact same job, but you're making much more than them.
Right.
But there are certain places where you go where people are so grateful to have you. They're just like so thankful. The nurses on the unit already just like, thank you so much for helping us out. That's so rewarding to see. And then like, especially with everything that we've just gone through, people were struggling. Like nurses completely overwhelmed, in over their heads. And so it's like when you see a new set of people in the door, you don't care who they are, where they came from, whatever. It's just like, thank you. Yes, thank you. So the people, that was really, really rewarding, for sure.
How was nursing during the COVID times?
So when it first started, I remember like just having a lot of anxiety. I actually had a panic attack at work. Like they had to wheel me down to the ED and everything. Like it was because I was just ingesting so much news, and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be New York where I am. You know what I mean? Like you're just thinking the absolute worst, and just so much anxiety. No one knows anything.
Well, you were in New York during that time?
No, I felt like
I
was in California,
You're
but I
California,
felt
okay.
like I was like, any second this is gonna be New York.
Yeah.
Cause like where I was, they had like elaborate train systems and stuff, and I was like, oh my God.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but yeah, that was one side of it, like just the anxiety, but also like the doctors not knowing the disease process at all and not knowing what to treat it with, and so you're just like, I don't know what to even tell people. Like one of the patients was like, so when am I going to like get to go home? And we're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like we don't know.
Scary.
We even asked the doctor, and he was like, I mean, I don't know. Like no one, like, so that, and then like fast forward in like November, it was so bad in New Mexico. That's where I was. And it was terrible. Like when I first got to New Mexico, there were maybe like 6 patients in the hospital. That was it. Like not with COVID.
No, I get you.
And then as time progressed and time goes on that I had been there, literally there was no ICU bed with
I know the ICU was probably booming during this time.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'd never seen anything like that. I've never seen that many people die before. I've never seen because it's like you're an ICU nurse, you see people die.
Right.
But like I've never seen them die like that and at such an alarming rate. Like people would literally be talking one day, and then like the next time you come into work, people are like, "Oh yeah, they coded and passed or whatever." I'm like, "Oh my God, I've never seen anything like that."
And also too, like sometimes I wonder, if you don't mind me asking this, like, when you're in that, like, just to be real with me, like, how do you? I hate to say get over it. 'Cause I don't think that's anything you just get over, but how do you get over it and just be able to go to work the next day?
Unfortunately, like you can become used to anything.
Yeah.
Like you can become used to anything. That time period was a different getting used to though.
Yeah.
But I mean, you just unfortunately you get used to it. I don't even know how else to explain it. It sounds morbid, but
that's real. I'm just being real. I remember like when I would talk to. Because my mom, dad, and brother are all in the military. I'm literally the only one in my family that's not in the military.
Goodness.
Then my mom, my dad, and my brother did, tours overseas. Both did. They both were in war times. And it's crazy to hear you say that, because that's literally the same things that they say. And, a lot of times, we say, frontline workers, but that's really what it is. Like, you really go on the front lines with, like, literally battling something you don't know what. Like, and that to me, respect to all nurses and medical staff, because that to me to be out there and, like I said, to go to work the next day, like you do have to be. There's something in you that you special. Like you special. Like you special. You gotta have something else, because everybody can do that, right? And that's not even saying like you're not compassionate, but you really you because if you look sad, if you look down, that's gonna go on the patients too. Like you can't. You have to put a brave face on.
Or you go in and be like super afraid. They're already afraid, and they couldn't see their families at that time, and it was just crazy.
Like, I know, just to me, nurses during that time, y'all had to go above and beyond just your job. Like, you had to not only be a nurse, but the compassion you had to show had to be next level.
Oh, yeah. It was crazy.
That's real. Ooh, got a little dark for a second. Let's get on the brighter side. Let's switch it up, get on the brighter side. So, but I'm saying, but that's one thing, talk about Relinquish. That's real life, right? Like, you got to deal with things like that. And I think that's one thing just, personally for me, I can't speak for nobody else. That's one reason I see you as a dope person. Like, you're going from hospital to hospital, place to place, and you're having to not only, especially during COVID, you carry that burden of, COVID, but being able to get in there and knowing, like, I gotta take care of my people, right?
Yeah.
So let's go something a little cheery. I know right now you're making a transition. You're making a transition yourself. So I don't want to spoil it for the people. I know if you look at our channel, you see it, but tell the people about the transition you're making. You're kind of, I say personally, how I see it, going towards your calling.
I 100% agree. So I am shifting from like my nursing career, my nursing background, and finally going to seminary school.
Okay.
So that's something that I've thought about for quite some time. I've gone back and forth about it, and finally I'm going. So I'm excited.
So I know on your site, I know on the video, you kind of let the people know that you're not leaving nursing fully. So what is your plan to do with nursing?
So I plan to do it until I can't anymore.
Right.
So pretty much like when I think about it, it's like I'm moving to a different city. I am starting fresh. I'm getting a new place. I'm furnishing the place. I'm starting school. There's no telling how much of school I have to pay for out of pocket. And I don't know what my career is going to look like coming out of school, because there are some people that go to school and they don't work.
Yeah, such real life.
Yeah, they don't work, and it's like it's something that you have to feel called to and passionate about, like no matter what the outcome is on the other end of it. And that's how I feel. Like I'm like, no matter what happens, no matter if I get out of this and it's not profitable, that's not really why I'm doing it, because it's profitable in another way to me. And so
feeding the spirit.
Absolutely. And so I'm like, I'm gonna keep my license up to date, and that's something that I will do to get me by in the meantime. But my heart is in ministry for sure.
Okay. So I'm going to rewind a little bit, because I want to talk about how we got to where you're at now with making this step. So just like I said earlier with the YouTube channel, and I know that's really to me what your brand kind of blossomed from. How did you get from talking about nursing to talking about your faith to like now where you're at, to where you're deep diving into your faith, right? Like you're letting go of something to go after what God's telling you to do. Like, how did you tell us about that transition?
Well, so even when I was talking about nursing, I was thinking about my faith. Yeah. And I was always battling back and forth. Like, how do I mesh these two things together in a presentable way? Because you always hear about branding and how you need to stick to your niche, and you talk about this one thing and you market yourself this one way. And so it felt like a box, but I was like, I'm not going to put myself in a box. So I was like, I got to a point where like, I'm going to make these nursing videos, but I'm going to also make these Bible studies. And, you can choose which one. And even your wife, like, I talked to her about this, and she encouraged me, because I was like, is this kind of like sending two people, like people in two different directions? Is it, going to hurt the brand? And she was like, there are nurses who are Christians, Courtney. Like, why do you feel like people are modeling?
Yes.
And I was like, she's right.
Yes. That's real, though. That's real. See, that's why I married her. But like, so like to that, I know you would talk about certain things, and I guess let's get a little bit more personal and funny with it, right? Like, something I always wondered with you're doing the traveling and also too kind of the religion aspect to it. Like, how is dating doing all that, right? Because I mean, a lot of times we live in a society nowadays where it's that we want that quick gratification, and sometimes if you're taking a certain walk, you can't go down that same path that normally would get you to the promised land, I guess, quicker. Or on the promised land to get you get you to progress in the relationship quicker, right? There's certain sacrifices, right? Because I know taking a walk, you have to do it a different way, right? And sometimes the way people may want you to do it or may want it to be, because like, oh, I'm not gonna see you. You know what I'm saying? I'm dude. We know little tricks that we use. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna see you, babe. You know what I'm saying? Why? Like, how do you navigate that? Like, that's real life, though. Yeah,
it is absolutely real life. So dating is like it's so hard. It's really trash, honestly. But it is. It's like the definition of trash. But yeah. So especially first off, like traveling. I know that I'm going to be in a place for 3 months.
Yeah.
I can extend, but likely I will be in a place for 3 months. How likely is it that I'm going to meet someone that is like, oh, for sure, I just want to date you for 3 months, and like they know it's going to be a long distance thing. I'm not going to stop traveling unless I find like the one. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not about to be like, oh, I'm dating somebody he ain't my boyfriend, ain't no title, we ain't engaged, and I'm just gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna stay in this random city. No. And give up the travel nurse money. No.
she's like, I might like you, but do I love you enough to give up the bag?
Yeah.
I ain't there right now.
Like, no.
That's real. So let me ask you this. Is it a thing of where you're not open to long distance, or is it like a thing of where so you want to do long distance?
I'm completely open to long distance. I'm open to it.
Okay.
I just like you have to find someone else who's open to it. But I'm completely open to it. I think it would honestly probably be like easier for me because like if we go to like the Christian walk thing, like you're not always around each other, always tempted, always up under each other, and so I think long distance would be great. So I'm not opposed to it. No.
Yeah. Okay, I like it. Okay, cool. So like we got tiptoe around. So like basically, so you're celibate, right?
Right.
Okay. So like with me, I know me and wife, we went through that struggle. So look, I got mad respect for anybody who goes down that walk. You know, here at Relinquish, we're all about doing what's best for you. So like, how did like what? I always wonder, like, because even with me and my wife, I asked her, because, me and Lauren were dating during school.
Yeah.
And then we, broken up after we graduated, and we got back together. So for me, it was kind of a shock, like, oh, this is new. You're what? So even though I was here, that I don't, because for me, I'm not gonna lie, the struggle for me was like, oh, so I have to follow the rule even though I was here before?
Oh, yeah.
But I know that was our struggle in our situation, so I had to adjust to that. But just in general, like, how is that? You know what I'm saying? In dating, if you don't mind me asking.
It is tough because you tell people eventually, like, like when you feel close enough, you feel connected enough, you tell people, and you get all different types of reactions. A lot of people are nice and they're like, oh, that's great for you, and then bye. Or like people are like, oh, that's nice, I respect you. And you think that that's something that they would, want to do with you. And then you get to the point to where you see that that's not really their true intention. So yeah, that's pretty much, I think I've dated like one person who was also celibate and like brought up celibacy before I brought it up, was very like passionate about it, strong about it, like literally one person. But I do believe that we exist, and so I just try to keep my faith in that.
Yeah, that's real though. And I always wondered too, 'cause I remember something me and the wife would talk about is it something where, is that something like where, because I had to literally ask her, like, before we got back together, like, is that something that you bring up on a first date just to let it be known, so that's something you wait, right? Yeah,
I don't do it on a first date, no. Because I'm like, I don't even know you yet. I don't even know if I like you yet. So, I mean, what do you need to know about,
But that's real. Because sometimes I wonder, like, do you go ahead, it's like, for example, like, what I do with my job, I'm a recruiter, right? So sometimes with candidates, what I ask them is, I ask certain questions like, hey, this commute works for you, right? That's more of a question of, if this job ain't for you, go ahead and move on, pass it, right? So that's kind of like what I'm saying. Like, if you put it out in the front, is it sometimes like a thing of where you're just trying to make sure, hey, this ain't on the table. If you ain't here for a long run, you go ahead and go. That's why I was wondering. Sense. Yeah, I'm
like that with like Jesus.
Okay,
because we could be friends or whatever. Probably not.
But you don't believe in Jesus? Oh, okay. It's check, please. No, I feel you. But that's literally like I just always wondered because there was this one time when me and wifey was single and I ran into a chick that I was talking to where she had said that, and at that time in my life I was like, oh, I ain't gonna waste your time.
Oh my God.
I did.
Did she tell you on the first date?
It was like we went out to dinner. And during dinner she had brought it up, and then during dinner she had brought it up, and I was like, oh. And it was real awkward, like, cause you know me, I ain't gonna BS you. I'm gonna be straightforward. I was like, and I remember telling, I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not in that space in life where I can say I can do that. I was like, but you're gonna be good for somebody else. And I wasn't even trying to be rude. For example, we went to date, cool, but we're gonna be friends. Cause my thing is like this, and just my personal opinion. If I'm not willing to do that with you, why play this game with you in your time?
Yes. Yes,
right?
I
so
love that.
so that's just my opinion on it, right? And I even tell Lauren, I tell her, you probably the only woman that came with me that would have worked it out, right? Because me and her, it was something that was established there. You know, the guy was banging against his head. That's your wife, and you go get her. So it was one of the things like I knew that's what I had to do to get there. And also, I feel like this is with any man, woman, no matter. Because I think sometimes too people have this idea of like men don't want to be celibate, right? There's men out there who are celibate. I have some friends who are, and then so for me, it's like man or woman, like if somebody's willing to be with you and wants to be with you, they will do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
and
I love that.
That's like anybody like I come across. So I want to make sure I say like, if they want you, regardless of how they came into the situation with, they'll do it. And I do understand what you're saying about not bringing up at first, because who knows? I mean, thankfully it didn't work out, because I wouldn't have my boy and my wife. But who would have known if she didn't set the first date? We might have put some time into it, and then got to a point like, dang, I really like this girl. I want to do it. So I feel what you're saying too. There's pros and cons to both sides.
Yeah,
I like it. I'm just so happy we had that conversation, because I feel like it's not had, right? I feel like it's sometimes people make celibacy like this taboo thing, like oh, if you're celibate, you're gonna only have to go out with somebody celibate, or like I feel like it's taboo. I feel like it's real life. Like
I love that what your response was though, like that you're like, if this person really wants to be with you, then because I think, I don't know, I just love that. I love.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's with anything, right? And I'm not saying that I don't believe there's a perfect person. Like I don't think me nor Lauren are perfect. We're far from it. There are certain things that, heck, you saw me and her bumping heads trying to get the video set up. You know what I'm saying? Like there's certain things about us that were different. But I feel like when you're with somebody, and you're especially talking about marriage, right? And even if you don't believe in marriage, you want to date somebody for a long time. That's cool too. Whichever works for you. Yeah. But like being with somebody, being with a partner, man, you really have to understand who they are, how they are, and be willing to be like, okay, for example, Lauren likes spicy food. Just don't throw out there. I'm not a huge spicy food person, right? I know when she cooks, she gonna be cooking some spicy ass food. So I need to make one or two decisions. I'm gonna get my own food or fix my own food, right? Like it just don't respect her, right? So it is one of the things like you gotta be able to roll with it. Yeah. Like with me and Lauren too with dating, I like that she's more of a let's go have a quiet dinner. I'm like, hey, let's go to the booty club and turn up. That you know what I'm saying? But you gotta find like a middle point of like, this is what you like, this is what I like. It's thinking is you want to do that, right? You gotta want to do it. Yeah. So like keep going on with your journey where you're at. So like we talked about dating a little bit through nursing, and then also too, I also wanted to know like when you were changing your content on your channel, right? Like you said, you went from nursing to talking about God and nursing a little bit more. Was there a fear that what was the fear like of you losing your audience? Because I feel like we all go through that. Anybody's a content creator, when you have that point where you want to change or change the look, like that makes you nervous. So like, how was that process?
This is gonna sound like
we about being real or Relinquish.
Okay, I'm like, this is gonna sound so cliche though. It really is. Okay. So, of course, like, you see the videos that do well, you see the topics that do well, and you're kind of, like, enticed, like, maybe I should talk about this more, or, or whatever. Even if it's not what you feel like you're passionate about. You're like, maybe I should put this out more because this is what the people are enjoying. But for me, with the faith videos, like, with the faith-based stuff, I literally was like, this is what I would rather talk about, period. If I had the choice to go into a stadium and talk to like thousands of people about nursing, or if I had the choice to go into a small room and talk to a small group about Jesus, I'd rather be in the small room. Like, and I had to, and it's like, I was like, that's what I'm more passionate about, period. So that's just what I'm going to put out. There are times, and honestly with my channel, I feel like there are times when it teeter-totters, like, with the nursing videos too, as well as like with the faith-based content. Like, some videos just do better than others, and so I try not to get caught up in like what exactly I'm talking about. Just like make and put out whatever God has like put on my heart, and just do it, like, because it's for somebody.
I love what you said when you broke down the audiences, right? Like you said, would I rather be in a stadium talking about nursing or be in a small room talking about God? Because sometimes it is those decisions you have to make, right? Like you got to realize, like, this is what I am, where I am right now. This is what I possibly could be giving up. Am I willing to do that? And I think a lot of people I'm gonna say they don't have it, but aren't willing to have that real conversation. Because that is a sacrifice, right? Like, unfortunately, we live in a society where if you talk about God, you might not get as many clicks, right? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like in this kind of business, it is about the clicks, right? Like the clicks lead to monetizing leads to extra bread in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? That's real, and that's real. So like. So like when you were going the journey, I also still want to talk to you about like how was that feeling of you know because getting the first time YouTube reached out to you and wanted to put money in your pocket, like how was that feeling?
Oh, that was awesome.
That was awesome.
That was awesome. So I mean, because when I first started, I can't remember. Wait, okay. So I had like 3 videos before like the video that did well, and it was like a video. So I was talking about nursing. But I also included like God in my story.
Yeah.
And so like of course, like, you know, you start looking up YouTube and how to do YouTube videos, how to record and things like that before you actually do it. And so I had done that already. And so I kind of knew the process. Like, you have to have this many subscribers. You have to have this much watch time. You have to, what else is it? Now I done forgot. But like, you have to have like.
Made it now. I had to think about a minute.
You have to have like this little checklist of things.
Yeah.
And so I was like getting these newsletters, and then eventually I got like like your account can be monetized, and I was like, this is crazy. Like, I get to make content and be paid for it, because it's not really like it's not my full-time job. So I feel like for people where they're like, this is my job, it's work for them, because it's like their whole life goes into it, editing it, filming and all that. But it's like, it's something I do in my spare time, and I get to make extra money for it. So it's awesome.
Yes. And also I love seeing your videos too. You have your brands in there, like you talk about certain brands that sponsor your episodes. Like how was it kind of learning how to add that to your videos? I always wonder like how is that? I ain't got there yet, but I always wonder like how is that, right?
So before, like, I remember different people would reach out for like, oh, could you like post this on Instagram or something like that. And I didn't really know much about it, so I couldn't really get into it. But just like anything, you do your research. So like, just like when you start YouTube, you start doing your research. How do I post these videos? How do I do this? How do I do that? How do I set up lighting? Like, I've researched every little thing. And so it was the same thing with like brands. Like, do brands reach out to you? Do you reach out to brands? Like, how does this go? How much should I ask for? I watch videos on everything.
That's
every little thing. And so more recently, you know, I've had like, it's like two brands reach out like, hey, can you include this in the video? Which I'm like, I mean, that's awesome too, but it's a new thing because you know, you kind of have to figure out, it's so taboo. Like, people don't talk about how much they get paid.
Yeah. And
so you're like trying to compare yourself to a channel that's around your size, that has your amount of engagement, but you don't really know. And so it's like, I mean, I know I can't ask for the same thing that this person asked for. Like, it's just like a guessing game, but like, you just have to dig on the internet, blogs, YouTube posts, all that, like, to try to, because you don't want to get into something and then somebody's paying you like cents on the dollar or something, you know.
You're making more money.
Yeah. You get over me because I don't know yet.
Yeah. So when you made that transition from, you know, starting off doing more videos about the nursing to transitioning more into stuff, just, you know, let's just say religious, more things about religion, and you talking more about Jesus. When you were transitioning that audience, what was like the most nerve-wracking thing about that?
Ooh, nerve-wracking. I'd probably say the algorithm. Like, it wasn't even nerve-wracking, like, I don't know, the algorithm for sure. Because it's like, you've branded yourself a certain way, you've used certain tags, you've built a certain audience, and you want your videos to be pushed to your audience, but sometimes the algorithm isn't helpful with that. And so, like, you know, have to find the tags that make sense. You have to find the titles that make sense that people are searching for, and just, you know, try to like build the quality of your content enough to where like people see your content and they're willing to come back or share it with someone else, and then just marketing on different social media platforms as well.
Okay.
So definitely like the algorithm and trying to build the audience and get them used to a different type of content.
Okay. And then while you're making that journey, right? Like, what was where you feel like that light bulb went off for you when you were like, okay, God, I'm listening. I'm about to go ahead and go to school about this, right? Like, I know you were doing your Bible studies, and I feel like the Bible studies to me is when I seemed like you started making that transition. But you know it better than us. I mean, tell me, like, what was that light bulb moment for you?
Oh my goodness. So I felt it a while ago. Like before I started doing the YouTube videos, I was doing blogs, and I was changing what I wanted my social media to represent. So like it used to be completely different, like just completely different. And so I started changing what I posted. I started changing my captions, and just posting like these quotes and then like these long, super long captions. And I saw like, oh, like this is getting a response. This is helping people. And then I decided like, you can like take a step even further into this. And then the response that I was getting to the videos of me actually speaking, I was like, maybe I'm supposed to be doing this. And then I remember like, also I had like, me and my sister would do Bible studies together. And so we would be having a Bible study, and she would be like, oh my God, I didn't even see that. I didn't even think about that way. And I'm like, okay, this is a gift. Like, this is a gift. And I mean, like you said before, like, we're not supposed to just like hold our gifts to ourselves. And so that was when I first was like, okay, you need to go to seminary. I kept traveling. I was like, well, when is it going to make sense? Like, what if I'm not making any money? And
that's real. Bills ain't going nowhere.
They are not. They are going up. And so I was like, I don't know when it's ever going to make sense, but it may never make sense. It may never be the perfect circumstance. And so I just got to a point where I was like, you need to do this and stop putting it off.
I feel like sometimes a guy will almost put that like, it's almost like he'll make the Holy Spirit be like a gnat in your ear. Almost. It's like okay, it's like, you know, go to seminary school, go to seminary school. You know what I'm saying? It keeps buzzing at you that like you need to do this, and to the point you're like, all right, God, all right, I hear you. Like I'm gonna do it. You know, I hear you. And then it's almost like that peace you gain afterwards. It's almost like that confirmation from Him of like, this is what I need you to be doing.
Oh my goodness!
Right?
Yes.
Like that's always like how I feel like it is. So like. And if you don't mind getting people to business, where are you going to seminary school at?
I'm going to the specific school or the place?
For the place.
Okay, I'm like,
it's your business how much you want to give.
So I'm going to Dallas Theological Seminary.
Okay. What made you choose Dallas? Was it like more of a thing of just location?
I didn't choose Dallas.
You didn't? Okay.
I chose the seminary.
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay. So there's a pretty predominant school where I'm from. So I started researching schools, and I was like, well, this one would be easier. It's right at home, but it just did not fit me. And so like the more I researched, I found this school. The author of the commentary that I use, the sermons that I watch, he attended the school. He taught at the school. His kids went to the school. And another thing that stood out, I mean, like, he's a black man. That's huge.
Yeah.
And the fact that like he wasn't able to go to certain seminary schools because he was a black man. Outside of that, so he found this one, took him. Yeah. Outside of that, there are also seminary schools that, you know, I mean, like, it's kind of taboo for some women to, like, in certain areas, for women to get up in front of a church and teach.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It is.
2021, that still exists.
It still exists. And so I was like, I want to go to a school that's diverse, that accepts, diverse amongst minorities, and then also genders as well. And so they stood out for me with that. They just seemed very inclusive, and I was like, this would be the perfect fit. So that's how I chose.
So, I mean, how is it for you, to go from traveling, to now it seems like you're literally about to plant some roots? Like, how does that feel?
Oh, my gosh. It feels good because I'm ready to settle down a little bit. But it also is like, it's a whole different ball game. Because I'm like, I move all the time.
Right.
Like, but moving and settling somewhere, I'm like, well, you have to find the perfect place that you want to stay in for a while, because you're not going to just leave it in 3 months. And furnishing a place. But I'm happy to like find a new church home and start serving and start building community instead of like having to change it all the time. Like, so I'm happy to do that. I'm excited to do that.
So basically you're finding home.
Yeah.
You make it home. So do you feel like for you, and I guess I want to ask, like, what is Courtney's overall goal? Mm-hmm. Right? Like I know like on your personal site, and I know even on YouTube channel, I know you do blogs as well too. Mm-hmm. I know you write. Like, what would you say is like your overall goal? Or is it like one of the things, like sometimes, like I know with me, like with doing the videos, right? Like,
yeah,
if you look at our YouTube channel, I'm gonna get cleaned up. But if you look at it, it's like so many different things that we talk about and that we do. I know for me, it was overall thing was like that. It's just turn the camera on and just do something. Mm-hmm. Like get yourself out there, right? And I know for me, I'm still figuring out my vision, and my overall goal is to have my own talk show. Mm-hmm. So like I wonder, like,
what awesome.
Thank you. I really just figured it out a lot long
time ago. You killing this though. Like,
thank you. Yeah. I'm trying. Hey, look, I'm trying. You got to get your practice in to get this ready for the big stage. But I just like wonder, like, what is your goal? Because I feel like what you're doing is, one thing I love that you're doing in person, just outside looking in as a fan, you haven't put yourself in a box. And that's one thing I love to be able to see, because I hate sometimes when we're building content and we sometimes accidentally get ourselves in a box, but you actually found your way out of it, right? Mm-hmm. So that's very impressive. So enough me talking, like, what is your overall goal?
Well, so when I first applied to seminary, I literally didn't have a goal. I talked to my pastor about it. I needed a recommendation from him. I literally had no goal. Like, he asked me, well, what do you think you want to do with this? And I told him I didn't know. And I was like, is it okay if I don't know? And he was like, yeah. Most of the people I went to school with didn't know either. So I just knew that I wanted to learn the word more and be accountable. Because I didn't want to be out here, like, talking to people and telling them about the word and get something wrong. And, like, I'm like, no, I know it's a lifetime worth of studying, but I wanted, like,
at least know something.
Structured study. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, do you think you could cause I know you do your Bible studies now. Of course, mm-hmm. I know you have people come in, you're inviting them. Do you think that's going to be your platform to kind of make something big? Like,
I don't know.
I feel like you're at home with it. It sounds weird.
I feel like I am too, but I really don't know.
That's nothing wrong with that.
Because I'm like, so on one end, that was when I first applied. It was like, that was months and months and months ago. But so now I'm like, either I'm going to continue to grow this virtual platform until maybe it becomes something that's,
we're gonna see you in front of a congregation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I'm in between like that, continuing to do that, which I have goals for that virtually. So I'm like, those are goals that I definitely do have, and like bringing people into my seminary experience and sharing it with them. But then also, on the other hand, I do want to be in a church community and serving in person and helping to build either a youth or women's ministry. Like, I feel like that's just so valuable. So I'm like, I will see how those two like come together.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I love, because like I said, Lauren, one time she was having her Bible study, and sometimes I wasn't sure if like I was listening. I know it would be a woman thing or what, but I just hearing it, and it just, like, to me, just sounds like you're at home, right? It just sounds like that's your comfort level. And I think a lot of times too, when you're doing something that's your home, I like to call it, or something that you are compelled to do, that peace comes with it, right? I don't know, just hearing you do it, it just sounds like different pieces come over you.
Yeah.
And so like, Courtney, like, I wonder, like, I guess also too, I want to ask you, I know we kind of hinted at it earlier about how you got started, and just, you did a lot of research and things like that. Mm-hmm. But what was like, how was it even turn on that camera for the first time? I wonder, like, the first time you recorded yourself.
Oh my goodness.
Let's go back to the beginning a little bit.
Oh goodness. Yeah, I feel like in the beginning, I was kind of like, what should this look like? What should this mirror? What have I already seen? And so, like, in the beginning, like, the first 3 videos I ever made, I deleted them.
She's like, I can't see those.
I deleted them. And yeah, I feel like I've, like, the more that I've done it, I've kind of come into myself and just, just sit there and be yourself, talk about what you want to talk about. Like, don't feel like you have to look or sound like anybody else. Just, like, completely be yourself. So that's something that I definitely learned. In the beginning, I was just like, oh, well, these are the 3 points and this is what works, and give 5 tips to do this, but like, just whatever was popping on YouTube at the time. And so now I'm just more like, sit, be yourself, be genuine, and that's helped, I think.
What does Courtney Denise's brand look like 5 years from now? Let's get more time. Let's put 10. Let's say 10 years from now.
Oh, 10.
Let's do 10. Let's do 10. I believe in
I couldn't even see 5.
So like 10 years from now, right? If you were to look back at what you're doing now, what are you hoping that you have grown to do, and what does Courtney Denise's brand look like in general? If you had to set some 10-year goals,
oh my gosh, 10-year goals. Well, I think it'll definitely be some form of evangelism. So like whatever that may look like, whether it be books, whether it be blogs, whether it be videos, whether it continues to be virtual studies, whether it's conferences, like I want to continue to pour into women. I want to continue to, show people Christ and, encourage them to learn and grow in their word on their own. So, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of a vague answer, but, like, it could be all of those things. I'm just like, let God do it.
Nah, I feel you. There's something that I remember my mom always challenged me to do. She was like, her framework was counting the cost. So she was like, in all decisions you make, think about how the decision is going to affect you 5 to 10 years from now. Right? So she used to always like teach me about that. So anything that I try to do, I try to think about, okay, if I do this today, how it will affect me. And of course, not always 5 to 10 minutes. Sometimes just 5 to 10 minutes from now, right?
Yeah.
But it's just always trying to figure out like, how is this going to affect me long term? So I always just ask people like, what is your goals in this? And let's get a little bit about, let's kind of like have a little bit of fun now.
Okay.
So something like I always wonder, right? When you're traveling, going from place to place, what has been your favorite place that you've traveled to so far? Like
can I say 2?
Go ahead too.
Okay, I'm gonna say why.
Okay.
So
I appreciate you. I ain't even gonna ask why. You make my job easier. I like it.
Okay. So the DC area was absolutely my favorite. It's very, very diverse, very, very great for young Black professionals. The community there is awesome. They also have a very amazing like church community. And it just gives you like New York vibes on like a small town feel. Like, and then if it's too much in the city, you can go to Northern Virginia. Like, it's literally perfect besides what they charge for rent. Like,
yeah, you gonna
the rent is like I gotta get out of here. Yeah. So that area for that reason, and then San Francisco for sure. It was just
West Coast, the Bay. Okay.
The most beautiful place I've ever lived in my life.
Really, San Fran? I've been to Cali. Like I've been to San Diego. I've been to LA. Yeah. The last time we went, this was like right before me and Lauren. You know what? No, we were married then. We had been married for a few months then. I'm sorry, I'm tripping. We'd been married for a few months by then. I remember we were going with her family out there. And we were in San Diego. San Diego's really nice, but I haven't. I remember my goal was to try to get to San Fran, but I haven't made it yet.
It's so beautiful.
I haven't made it yet.
It's so beautiful, and it's like so. San Fran is really, really beautiful. Like, I mean, and there's so many different cultures there. But then also like Oakland's right next to it, and so like you have a completely different vibe in Oakland. Like there's a large African community in Oakland. There's a large European and Asian community in San Francisco. Like there's just, you experience so many different things, and it's just beautiful. Like it's just on the it's just beautiful. Okay. I love it.
So let me ask you this too: when you're speaking of travel, I'm speaking into existence that travel nursing experience is going to carry you over into your monastery experience. We're going to get to travel and do talks too. I'm going to speak that to existence for you. So if you had to go to a travel assignment, what are the things that you look for in it? And what I mean by that is like when you're comparing assignments, like what are some things that you're looking for? Like maybe one place, this place has good food and good night entertainment. This place is more quiet. Like what are the factors that are important to you?
So before all of this, like it was when I actually did that, where I would like look for certain things and places. Now I just go where the money is. But before, when I would look for places, I would literally be like, okay, is it a major city, because I wanted to feel safe. And especially like, so I would look up the percentage of minorities and Black people. I wanted to feel safe. I didn't want to go to like some small town in Southern Alabama or Texas that I had never heard of before that had like 3 Black people, because I'm a woman and I'm by myself.
Real.
So I would always look that up. I would.
Safety first.
Yeah, absolutely. That was like the major thing that I would look up. And then like I would look at these articles like best places to move for young Black professionals.
Real.
And so there's a list of like 15 cities in the U.S. And I'm like, I want to be either in this city or right outside. So, like, say, for instance, you know, I moved to San Francisco, but I was, like, right outside of Oakland. Or, you know, living in Northern Virginia, right outside of D.C. Like, I would pick places based on that.
Oh, okay, makes sense. And then, like, when you're, those who are traveling, and one thing I was a little within the last 5 years. I'd probably say less than that, honestly. I've really gotten comfortable with being able to go out by myself. What I mean by that is, like, you know, you hit the homies up.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, hey, man, y'all want to go out and such, but nobody wants to go out.
Yeah.
So sometimes you tell yourself, well, I guess I'll stay home then. Like,
Yeah.
like, I just got to the point where, like, I can go, like, to the movie theater by myself. I can go out to, like, a bar by myself. Like, so when you're going to new cities like that, like, how long does it take to get comfortable to go out by yourself? Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so tell me, like, not because for real, like, for me, sometimes it's nerve wracking, right? And I guess because maybe you were in an environment where you had to. Those are the things, like, you basically told yourself, nah, if you're gonna do the travel there's thing, you better get used to it, or you just always been like that.
No, I was not always like that. I dated this guy a long time ago, and he was like, yeah, I go to the movies by myself. And I was like, you are a weirdo. Like, why do you go to the movies by yourself?
That too, yeah.
And he was like, well, why are you uncomfortable by yourself? And I'm like, oh my God. That's true. Why am I uncomfortable by myself? So that was the first thing that had happened. I still didn't go out by myself.
Yeah.
When I started to travel nurse, I had gone through like a bad breakup. And I was like, I'm going to this new city. I'm going to have a reset. It's just going to be me and Jesus. And I'm going to be fine. And I like went through this whole thing where it's like, I'm going to get to know myself. I'm going to love myself and stop like looking for someone else to do that. And so part of that is like dating yourself. Go out with yourself. And so I would go to restaurants, botanical gardens, museums, science centers, like by myself.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's real. It took me. I remember like my first time going to like a movie by myself. Funny, Lauren pushed me to do it. It was a movie she didn't want to go see, and I really wanted to go see. And she kind of used my own words again. She was like, "You're always telling me if I want to go do something, just go do it. Why don't you just go do it?"
Yeah.
And I was like,
okay.
I was like, oh damn, I guess you used my own words against me. All right,
Exactly.
I have no shame in it. It was a Dragon Ball Z movie. I really wanted to see it.
I can see why she didn't want to go.
I understand. Look, I get it. You know, you married. They got different hobbies you do. It was a Return of Frieza. I wanted to go see that so bad. I understand you might not know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
You don't. I wanted to go. I was like, oh, a fan. But I wanted to go see that so bad. But I was just like, nah, I'm gonna go see it by myself. You know, people probably gonna make fun of me. I'm the thing with myself.
Thing. You think you're out, you're like, everyone's looking at me. And it's like, no,
nobody's paying no attention. You are not that special.
Exactly.
You tell yourself that. I had to remind myself, like, yeah, like, cause I think about it, it's just like, especially in Atlanta, because there is so many things to do.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? Like, to me in Atlanta, if you're at home, it's because you choose to. Like, there's always something to do. So it was like one of the things where I kind of was pissed at myself. I was like, all this time I've been in Atlanta, and then now, because my wife gave me that. Well, I think she's my girl. We were still dating, and we weren't married. But I was like, that took me to go outside.
Yeah.
And for me, it was just like, I wasted enjoying a good city. I mean, of course, me and her go out and enjoy the city, and now I don't mind going out with myself. But it's just like, dang, that's time wasted. Because it's a real thing. Like, why are you scared to be by yourself?
A lot of people are doing it too. A lot of people.
Like, what do you think? There's a shift in that, though. Do you think it's just?
I think a lot of people are still staying at home because they don't want to be out by themselves.
But it's just crazy. But the thing is, like, once you do it, it's like, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. You just have to do it the one time.
Yeah. And it's almost, to me, it was almost like a thing of, it's like, once I did it, it was just like, I made this a way bigger deal than what it actually was.
Exactly.
Because it's like, bro, you by yourself, you like what you like, you just go and enjoy it, right?
Exactly.
But like, so someone like, when you're in a new city going out, of course safety is very important. I wouldn't even try to skip over that. But like how was it like that first time going out in a new city? Because it's different. Like, Atlanta's like, I live here, so there's a comfort level at least that I have. But like, you probably did it in like a brand new city, like like how
I feel like I don't remember because it wasn't that big of a deal.
Right, like,
because I'm like, I don't even remember. I remember times of me like going places, but it was just completely fine. Like, there was this place downtown that wasn't too far from my house, and I would go to eat there. And I would go often. I loved that place.
Yeah.
And I would just sit at the bar and eat.
Right. But it's almost like once you get that, and it's really an illusion that everybody's looking at you. It's just like, I'm just here. You over there minding your business, I'm minding mine. You know what I'm saying?
And it's a great way to meet new people. Like we talked about the whole dating thing.
Yeah.
It's like you go and sit at a bar. A lot of times, so are other people, and they're alone. They're watching a game. You know, you're there by yourself. Whatever. It's a great way, like, to meet people and to start conversations and things like that. It's like you can't just be locked up in your house forever. Like Jesus is not gonna drop nobody at the doorstep.
Girl. I'm happy you said that because a lot of times I think we sometimes, and I say these are illusions, because I think sometimes we get trapped in the illusion of social media.
Yeah.
To where like you see somebody talking about you see somebody talking about something in a cookie cutter way, and this is how it's done. But instead of people, I think sometimes realizing that's how it was best for them, and maybe taking the idea and putting it for yourself. But I think a lot of times it's because you think you're not supposed to find people that way, right? Like this. I know we talked about this earlier. Like there's sometimes certain places that people feel like you can't find a mate. Right? Like, and I remember sometimes, I remember this one woman I was working with, right? And I remember she was talking about, this guy was hollering at me at the bar. I'm just like, you at a bar? Where else? What do you want him to do?
Right.
And she was like, well, yeah, what exactly do you want this man to do?
That doesn't make any sense.
She remembers that. And I'm going to ask you this question, right? Because I think this is sometimes a little bit, I don't want to say crazy because it's not funny. The getting hollered at the grocery store. Because I've heard that one before. Why is that such a big deal? I've always wondered that.
I feel like it's more like, the grocery store. I don't know if that's ever happened to me.
Because I've heard a woman say, she's like, I got hollered at the grocery store and I ain't like it. I'm just like, but...
The grocery store?
Yeah.
No, not the grocery store. Like the gas station.
I don't know what's wrong with the gas station.
The gas station is different. Okay, so I feel like that's never happened to me at the grocery store. But the gas station is like, if you need to feel good about yourself, go to the gas station. Have you ever seen that tweet?
No, I believe it. I've been to Atlanta. Atlanta is... I'm saying, if you're a woman in Atlanta and you go to a gas station, I say don't do it at night. I always say that because if you want your ego boosted, but at the same time you want to feel unsafe, go ahead and go at night. Because like they're gonna say something to you. Yeah. But I guess it's like, do you feel like that's... Let me ask you this. Do you feel like there's a wrong place to get hollered at?
No. The gas station, the reason I feel like women are so on guard at the gas station, it's like, oh my God. Because it happens every single time we go to the gas station.
Really?
It's a gas station thing. I don't know what it is. Like,
I wonder why because I will say, you know what I'm saying?
You holler at people at the gas station?
I've never hollered at a girl at the gas station. Now, I will say, I'll be real and say I've been pumping my gas. Like, damn, shawty kind of nice, but I just ain't never, I don't know why. I never tried the gas station. Well, Courtney, man, I had a great time with you today. Like, we had some great conversations. So once again, like I said, thank you for coming on to the show. Appreciate your time. I mean, tell the folks where they can find you at, man. You know, you blowing up. Tell them where they can find you.
Oh, my God. So, if you search Courtney Denise anywhere, I'll pop up. Courtney Denise on YouTube. I am Courtney Denise on Instagram. I am Court_Denise on Twitter. But if you type in Courtney Denise, my pages and such will pop up.
I know you legit when you guys type in the name and you pop up like that. You know, I'm going to gas you up. That's all right. I'm going to gas you up. But no.
Oh, my God.
But once again, I appreciate your time. Appreciate you talking with us. Appreciate you just sharing your dopeness with the world. You know, hey, y'all go follow her. Go see her. Check out her YouTube page. It's great content. And one thing, like I said, leave off on this. I love the fact that you're bringing Christianity to the people, but you're not. I hate to say this, you're not stuck up about it, right? You're like you're honest. You're open. You know that you have a lot to learn. You're not putting it like a preachy way. Even though if you want to start preaching, believe me, I think you can do it. Okay. But you just make it feel welcome. And I feel like a lot of times people have this idea of what Christians are as like sometimes stuck up people who are raising our noses at people. But God don't put us here for that, right? God puts us here to be a light to others and help us guide them to Him.
Absolutely.
But that's it. Appreciate your time. Y'all, see y'all later. Check Relinquish out at IG, Twitter, YouTube, Relinquish Life on YouTube, Relinquish Life on IG. Check us out. Appreciate your time. Peace. Because really what you said ultimately was, what does relinquish mean to you? So like, what does that even mean to you in the first place? And what you want to convey in our show.
So like relinquish, when I hear that and I think about what you guys have created and what it is to me, So a lot of times when we hear the term or we feel the analogy of like somebody being shackled or held down to whatever circumstance that is holding them down, we think about the cuffs actually being an exterior force that's right around your wrist. Sometimes you are holding on to those things,
Yeah.
and then when you relinquish it, let it go, you're free, right? So, but that is a process within itself.
You creating your own freedom, ultimately.
You're creating your own freedom. The freedom is there. You feel me? Like there's always going to be outside forces that influence you to behave as if you were trapped. That ain't necessarily it. You feel me? So when I hear relinquish, you're letting go of things that are holding you down from being free. Like literally, Erykah Badu bag lady. Like let the bags go so you can fly. So that's what I hear when I hear relinquish.
That's real, bro. I mean, that's ultimately what Relinquish what we try to convey. I mean, ultimately, we're trying to let people know, like, your freedom is really your own. The freedom is there for you to obtain. The freedom is there for you to get it, but you have to let go so you can be free and fly away. I mean, really, just what you said, man. That's
absolutely. So even when I think about what it is that we are in the journey of where we're trying to create, and this is a show, and it's so many. Let's not get beside ourselves and say that we're groundbreaking and we're doing something new. It's men talking about issues from a man's perspective. At the end of the day, that's what it is, right? Yeah. But what I want people to know is that what I hope is different, or what we're even. I hope this isn't different, but I hope what is the message, what you get from us is, well, what we're saying isn't fact, and it may not be fact.
No, it's not fact.
Yeah, it can be based on facts, but it ain't fact.
We're not getting bullshit,
and it isn't the truth. Right? This is our truth. This is what we feel to be true. This is what we think is, what is relevant. This is our moral scope. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, you have to trust your own truth. You have to believe, you have to find what it is that you believe. And you have to live by that code. And hopefully that coincides with everybody else. And you just doing your part to make this world a better place.
See, this is why you were one of the first people to take pictures of. You explained it perfectly. But no, I mean, bro. I mean, I definitely do feel you in that. Like, ultimately, what we want people to get from Relinquish is really what you think it is. I mean, honestly, ultimately, it's about being free. Right. So, whatever your idea of being free is, that's what it's gonna be.
So you gotta understand that Relinquish is as far as what you guys built. Like, you got to go straight to the source for that. But use Relinquish as a term, as a word, as a lifestyle. That ultimately, I'm telling you to use that to set you free.
Right.
That's it.
That's it. That's all we need.